We live in a world that teaches us to hurry. Hurry to get ahead. Hurry to be seen. Hurry to arrive. And when we don't see immediate results, when prayers seem unanswered, when doors don't open the moment we knock, we start to believe that something's wrong, that we missed it, that maybe God forgot us. But what if the delay isn't a denial? What if God's silence is not neglect, but intentional strategy? His timing isn't random, it's surgical. He knows exactly when to act, and he's never a second too early or a second too late. You see, we treat delay like it's punishment, but in God's economy, delay is preparation. It's in the waiting that faith is formed. It's in the waiting that pride gets stripped and trust gets built. We think the blessing is in the arrival, but the blessing is in the making, that thing you've been praying for, that breakthrough you've been waiting on. God heard you the first time, but he's not going to let that blessing show up before you're ready to carry it. Because if you get it too soon, it might crush you. You might worship the gift instead of the giver. So he waits, and while he's waiting, he's working. And I know it's hard. I know what it feels like to watch everyone else seem like they're moving ahead while you're standing still. Like their prayers got fast-tracked and yours got filtered out. But God doesn't do comparison. He's not checking other people's timelines when he moves in yours. He's writing your story for your good and his glory. And it doesn't have to look like anybody else's. The delay you're frustrated with is the very thing preserving you. Because had you walked through that door before he fortified your character, it would have exposed every crack in your foundation. Sometimes God withholds the dream because he's still chiseling the dreamer. And that's not punishment, that's love. That's a father who refuses to set you up for failure. That's a God who sees what you don't. He knows what's on the other side of the platform you're praying for. He knows the weight of what you're asking him to carry, and he knows exactly how long it takes to strengthen your back so you don't fold under the pressure when you get there. So trust him. Trust that he's not wasting your time. Trust that he's not ignoring your cry. Every tear has been counted. Every prayer has been bottled. Every moment you thought was lost is being used. Even in the silence, he's moving. Even in the stillness, he's speaking. His delay is not his denial, it's his design. God doesn't rush the things he loves. And you, beloved, are loved deeply. So when the days feel long and the silence feels loud, remember this. Just because you can't trace his hand doesn't mean you can't trust his heart. He's doing something eternal in you, something holy, something weighty. And when the time is right, he will open every door that needs to be opened, and nothing will be able to shut it. Don't confuse God's process with God's absence. He's not late. He's not lost. He's leading you on purpose, with purpose, and in perfect time. We tend to think that if God is in it, everything should be easy. If God has called us, then the road should be smooth, the people should support us, the doors should swing open without resistance. But that's not how God works. That's not how purpose is born. See, God often hides his greatest work in what looks like ordinary, even painful places. He doesn't always announce it with flashing lights or the applause of men. Sometimes he builds in silence, and sometimes he trains in the dark. You want to know how you're being shaped? Look at the battles you've been fighting in secret. The ones no one claps for. The tears you cry in the middle of the night that nobody sees. The moments you keep showing up, keep praying, keep believing, even when it looks like nothing is changing. That is where he's shaping you. That is where purpose gets its roots. Because public anointing always comes after private surrender. God will never promote what he hasn't first purified. You may feel overlooked right now. People may not see what's on your life. They might even misunderstand you, doubt you, question your path. But don't you let that shake you. God has a way of developing the ones he loves in obscurity, not because he's punishing them, but because he's protecting them. He's growing something in you that needs time, depth, and pressure. Think about how a tree grows. Before you ever see the fruit, the roots go deep. And the deeper the roots, the stronger the tree. That's what he's doing in you. Some of you have been begging God to reveal the plan. God, just show me what you're doing. Just give me a glimpse. But if he showed you everything too soon, it would scare you. You'd either try to rush ahead or shrink back. So instead, he gives you the next step. Just enough light for the path, not the whole map. And in that step-by-step walk, he's teaching you something greater than answers. He's teaching you to trust him. There's a discipline in waiting. There's a discipline in walking by faith when everything in you wants to control the outcome. But that discipline, that pressing, that fire, it's where maturity grows. It's where your voice gets authority, not from comfort, but from crushing. Not from applause, but from obedience. That's what builds weight in the spirit. That's what makes you unshakable. And let's be honest, some of us want the breakthrough, but we don't want the breaking. We want the platform, but not the pruning. But you can't separate the two. You can't step into the fullness of your calling without dying to your comfort. God will allow you to be tested, not to shame you, but to refine you, to prove that what's in you is real. So don't run from the refining. Lean into it. Let him burn away what doesn't look like him. Let him strip you of the opinions, the pride, the fear. Because what's coming on the other side is too great for you to carry anything extra. He's not just preparing the promise for you, he's preparing you for the promise. And that process, it's sacred. Don't despise the days where it feels like nothing is happening. That's the soil where greatness is growing. That's the secret place where destiny takes shape. Stay faithful. Keep digging. Keep trusting. The delay is not a sign that you've been forgotten. It's proof that you're being forged. We love the idea of breakthrough. We sing about it. We pray for it. We fast for it. But the truth is, most breakthroughs don't happen in the spotlight. They don't usually arrive when you're surrounded by people cheering you on. Breakthrough often shows up in the most unexpected places, lonely places, because God does his best work in the silence, not when the crowd is watching, but when nobody is. Sometimes we think that silence means God has stopped moving, that maybe he's changed his mind or forgotten what he promised. But silence is not absence. Silence is strategy. It's in the silence that God sets the stage. It's where he rearranges the atmosphere around you and within you so that when the breakthrough finally comes, you don't just receive it, you're ready to handle it. See, God isn't interested in just blessing you, and he wants to bless through you, and that means building the kind of character that can carry what he gives. And there are moments in your life where the tension feels unbearable, where you're doing everything you know how to do, praying, fasting, staying faithful, and it still seems like the doors won't open, like the healing won't come, like the restoration is too far off. But don't misread the moment. What feels like delay is really preparation. You're not being punished, you're being positioned. He's stretching your capacity because what's coming is bigger than you imagined. And if he gave it to you right now, without the growth, without the stretching, it would crush you instead of lift you. I know it's hard to keep believing when you're buried in uncertainty. I know it's hard to stand when everything in you wants to quit. But the very pressure you feel is the signal that breakthrough is near. Think about childbirth. The greatest pain comes just before the delivery. The pressure increases, the pain intensifies, and then new life breaks through. That's not a coincidence. It's a picture of how God bursts things in the spirit. The pressure is not meant to destroy you. It's the signal that something is being born. And maybe right now you're in that place. You're feeling the weight of the silence, the ache of the waiting, the heaviness of not knowing what's next. But I need you to hear me. Just because it doesn't look like it's happening doesn't mean it's not. God does some of his most powerful work in the background, behind the scenes, underneath the surface. Think about seeds in the soil. You don't see anything at first, but deep in the dark, in the dirt, transformation is taking place. Roots are forming. Strength is building. That seed is getting ready to break through. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. It's not coming because you figured everything out. It's coming because you didn't quit. You stayed planted. You kept showing up. You worshiped through the silence. You praised through the tears. And that obedience, that steadfastness, is producing something eternal in you. You may not feel strong, but you're being strengthened. You may not feel seen, but heaven has had its eyes on you the whole time. So don't you let the silence fool you. Don't let the waiting make you give up. What God promised is still on the way. Your breakthrough isn't behind you. It's just ahead. Keep moving forward, because the very silence that's been surrounding you is about to echo with the sound of answered prayer. There comes a point in the silence where God isn't just developing your strength or testing your faith. He's anchoring your identity. Because in the absence of applause, in the absence of recognition, in the absence of visible progress, you learn who you really are. And more importantly, you learn who God really is. That's what the silence is for. It strips away the distractions, it clears out the noise, and it leaves you face to face with the truth. If you don't know who you are in God when no one's watching, you'll lose yourself the moment the spotlight shows up. There's a kind of maturity that only grows in isolation. You don't get it from being celebrated. You don't get it from being affirmed. You get it from being hidden. From being in places where your name isn't called, your gifts aren't recognized, and your dreams feel far off. And in those moments, you either chase validation or you cling to the voice of God. You either define yourself by what people see or by what God has spoken over you in secret. See, we live in a world that says your worth is measured by your visibility. That if people don't know your name, your work doesn't matter. But that's not how the kingdom operates. The kingdom says the last will be first. The kingdom says your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. So while the world looks at the surface, God is always looking at the root. He's not just preparing your platform, he's preparing your posture, because how you carry what he gives you is just as important as what he gives. It's in the quiet seasons that your motives are purified. In the hidden seasons, your heart is exposed. God allows you to sit in spaces where it feels like nothing is happening, but really, he's asking you, who are you becoming while you wait? Are you growing bitter or staying faithful? Are you building resentment or cultivating gratitude? The silence reveals whether you want his presence or just his blessings, whether you want his will or just your way. So when you're in that place, when you feel buried instead of planted, ignored instead of chosen, I want you to understand something. This is where identity is forged. It's where you come to know that you're a child of God, not because the world approves of you, but because heaven already affirmed you. You've been set apart, marked, appointed, not for popularity, but for purpose. And if God is keeping you hidden, if he's allowing the silence to stretch longer than you expected, it's not because he's forgotten you. It's because he's forming something sacred in you. He's building depth, character, weight. He's anchoring your soul so that when the platform comes, you won't crumble under the pressure. You won't let the highs and lows determine your stability. You'll be rooted, grounded, unshakable. So don't rush the process. Don't despise the silence. God is not punishing you. He's preparing you. He's protecting you from platforms you're not ready for yet. He's shielding you from exposure that could break you instead of build you. Trust the God who hides before he reveals, because when he finally does bring you into the light, it'll be clear to everyone that wasn't just talent, that wasn't just timing, that was transformation born in the secret place. And that's the kind of breakthrough that lasts.